Hi everyone, this is Dr. Scott Timpanelli and welcome back to the Chiropractic Minutes. I want to talk to you about something I came up with years ago. I actually did this over 10 years ago and I call it the chiropractic pyramid. You know, you've seen those posters where they show the iceberg and the iceberg is underwater and they show what that person is. They show the top of the iceberg over the water and they have it labeled success, and under the water, the iceberg is probably about 10 times bigger. You only see a small portion of the iceberg, and the iceberg under the water is like gigantic, and all the things that person did for 20 years to make them a success. And that's how I look at chiropractic, the chiropractic pyramid. If I draw a line right here, we should have a marker. These three, I'm going to show it closer up. These three top columns here, and below that is what you don't see. Meaning that when you come in for an adjustment, there's so many positive things happening that are imperceptible. Imperceptible. And I show this to people, and I haven't talked about it in a while, and I want to reintroduce it, that there's many different things that are going on without your knowledge when you're coming in for the adjustment. And of course, I'll be frank, most people come in for adjustments because they want to feel better. And I put on top of here, pain, improved joint neurology, improved joint function, right? Range of motion. People come in, that's what's on top of the iceberg. That's what's above the water. That's what you can see. You can get an adjustment and something you've been dealing with for weeks and weeks can go away. It's very powerful. When you're in better alignment without subluxation, okay? I have many videos on that. Misalignments in the spine caused by everyday stress. Very powerful when a gentle, specific adjustment, gentle, opens up those nerve channels, which goes to the muscles and the ligaments and the tendons, and the motor unit works better, better alignment. Guess what? Pain may go down. Because why? Because your body's functioning better. You have a better nerve supply. But if that's the only reason you're coming in for, you'll probably be gone. And I recommend people get adjusted at least once a week. Okay? All right. So let me zoom this in. Zoomed in here, and if I drew a line here, we have pain, improved joint neurology, joint function, range of motion, and then we come underneath the water here. We come underneath the water, okay? And the bottom one says a clear connection between the brain and body, meaning that every single time you get an adjustment, you get checked and adjusted, there is a better connection between the brain and the body. Actually, a connection that is restored. And I always tell people, yes, you can live to 100 years old and not get adjusted. There's people who do that, who live long lives and not get adjusted. But we're talking about the quality of your life. And every single time, if you're living and walking around with misalignments that we call subluxation, you're not getting the most life out of life, period. So every single time you get an adjustment, there's a clear connection between the brain and the body. What else is happening as we go up the ladder? Remove nerve pressure, spinal cord tension. When you get an adjustment, the tension in the spinal cord is reduced. It's such a level that it's imperceptible. And when the spinal cord has less tension and there's less nerve pressure, your body's going to work better. It has to work better by law. So we come up to the next one, nerve supply and nerve flow. I backed it out again. I unzoomed this. Increased nerve supply, increased nerve flow. When we make the adjustment and we remove that interference in the spine, that obstruction, that subluxation, that blockage of energy, there's going to be a better flow of nerve force from the brain out to the body. You can call it life force, you can call it nerve force, you could call it information, bioelectrical energy. We know it's life. It's special. And there's a better flow, or the way it's supposed to flow when there's little to no subluxation, misalignments in the spine, when you're getting checked regularly. Okay? Now we move up again. Increased organ system function. Okay. I don't know if the organs are going to function better, but I do know this. When there's no misalignment, when you're getting checked regularly and you have less misalignment, less obstruction, less blockage from subluxation, the nerves also go to your organs, your heart, your lungs, your liver, your kidneys. They're also depending upon that flow of information from the brain down to the organ. And then from the organ back up to the brain. The organs are always reporting to the brain, hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? We need more of this, we need more of that. Well, that function's going to be better, or the way it's supposed to be, without subluxation. And then we move up again to range. Now we move up to the top three: range of motion, improved joint neurology, and pain. Okay, now we're above the water. Remember we talked about the iceberg below the water. Now we're above that water, the stuff you can see, the stuff that you can measure. You know, when you're getting checked regularly, the range of motion of your spine, and I can't say this with 100% because there's too many variables. The range of motion of your spine may improve. Because not only are we taking pressure off nerves, we're dealing with a motor unit. We're dealing with two vertebrae coming together with a disc, okay, and tendons and ligaments. And when you have better alignment, there's going to be better motion. And when there's better motion, well, the range might improve depending what age you start getting adjusted. If you start getting adjusted at 70, it's a lot different than getting adjusted starting at 25. Okay, so these are the things we can measure. Improved joint neurology. There's been tons of research showing that nerve force, that flow of energy coming from the brain to the body. Well, it's also to the joints too. The joints are very, very, very sensitive. There's a high level of perception in your joints. Your joints are constantly telling your brain where they are in time and space. Proprioception, mechanoreception. Okay, and then pain may be reduced because when the spine is working better, when the motor units, and we talk about 24 vertebrae stacked together like donuts, when those motor units are in better alignment and moving better, statistically, you're going to have less pain. Statistically. I can't say that 100%, but statistically. I can't say anything 100% because there's so many variables involved in the body. It's not like a machine. It's not like a watch. You know exactly how many parts are going into that watch or a car. And, you know, theoretically, a car, if you replace the parts, can go forever. Thousands of years if you just replace the parts and maybe give it a paint job. But the human body and living organisms are different. They're different. There's too many variables, and a lot of the variables are still unknown. We're still figuring things out when it comes to research and physiology, discovering new things, discarding old things. But I can say one thing with absolute certainty, is that when you get checked and adjusted regularly, a few times a month, I go twice a week. I get checked twice a week for years. Once a week is ideal. It's ideal because there's so many stressors, hidden stressors that are out there. But when you're getting adjusted regularly, talking too fast here, the quality of your life will improve in some way. What way? I can't predict that, but it will improve in some way. Okay, that's it for today. The Chiropractic Minutes. Yeah!